Most people think they are already late, that if they are not rich in their 20s, they have failed, and that thought slowly destroys their future without them even realizing it. Social media tells you you should already be successful. If you don't have money yet, you are behind. But what if that pressure is completely false? Because here is the strange part. Most people don't get rich in their 20s. They get rich much later. So let me ask you something. If that's true, why does wealth show up after 40? Is it luck? Is it time? Or is it something you are completely missing right now? Because the truth is, it was never about age, and it was never about luck. It's about something happening quietly, long before anyone notices it. Something that most people ignore until it's too late. Most people think success is fast, something you can see immediately. But real success is silent. It grows slowly, without attention, without validation, until one day it finally becomes visible. And this is where it becomes dangerous, because nothing seems to happen. No money, no results, no progress. And your mind starts telling you that you're wasting your time, even when you are actually building something real. So people start changing direction, they switch plans, try something new, again and again, thinking the problem is the method, but they don't realize they never stayed long enough for anything to actually work. And every time you restart, you go back to the beginning, again and again, without realizing you were actually closer than you thought, right before you stopped. Now think about your own life for a moment. Have you ever felt like you were doing everything right, but nothing was changing? Working hard, staying consistent, yet still feeling stuck, like your effort wasn't leading anywhere at all? Because real progress feels invisible at first. It doesn't give you signals, no rewards, no feedback, and your brain starts convincing you that nothing is working, even when everything is quietly building in the background. So what do most people do? They panic, they switch strategies, they start over again and again, thinking the problem is the method, when the real problem is leaving too early. But the people who eventually succeed don't move faster, they just don't stop. They stay in the same direction long enough for something invisible to finally become visible. And this is where time changes everything. Not because time creates success, but because time reveals it. The longer you stay consistent, the more your results begin to show, until one day they become undeniable. This is why success looks sudden, but it never is. What you see is just the final moment, the visible part, not the years of quiet effort that came before it. And when you compare yourself to others, you only see their results, not their process. And that illusion makes you feel behind, even when you are simply earlier in the journey. Because everyone wants the result, but no one wants the phase before it, the waiting, the uncertainty, the silence. But that phase is where everything is actually built. And if you leave during that phase, you will never reach the moment where things start making sense. You will always feel stuck because you keep quitting right before it works. So the real difference is not age and it's not luck. It's how long you can stay when nothing seems to be happening, because that's the exact moment when everything is actually being built. Now look at your situation differently. What if you were never late and the timeline you believed in was never real? What if the pressure you feel comes from comparing your beginning to someone else's ending? Because the people you admire did not become successful overnight. They went through years where nothing showed, where it looked like failure, but in reality they were building everything. So maybe the problem was never your progress. Maybe it was your expectation. You expected results too early, and when they didn't come, you assumed something was wrong, even when everything was actually working. Nothing was wrong with you. You were just in the phase where nothing is visible yet. The phase that feels slow but builds everything quietly in the background. And the moment you understand this, everything changes. You stop rushing, you stop comparing, and for the first time, you stay long enough for results to appear. Because success is not about speed, it's about consistency. Doing the same thing again and again, even when it feels like nothing is happening, That's what creates real results. And this is why most people fail, not because they are incapable, but because they leave right before things start working, right before everything changes. So you're not behind, you're just early. And if you keep going, what feels invisible today will become undeniable tomorrow. And one day, people will look at you and think it happened overnight. They will never see the years you stayed when everyone else walked away. So you're not late, you're not behind, you're not failing. You're just in the part of the story where nothing shows yet. And that part is exactly where everything begins.